did it, but now I'm not seeing it. Yeah, that's great. Let me. Oh wait, nope. Now we're back on.
And we're back.
Hey.
I don't know if
All
now we're
right.
back
Or
on.
were we ever on?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I pressed the button and it went. All right. So for everybody who just joining, Hockey on Tap podcast, episode 86. For some reason, I don't know what happened. It was streaming and then not streaming, and hopefully it stays this way. But I'm your co-host. Here's all the guys. We're brought to you by Sam. Have a great
This
day.
is us. What's up?
All right. So who was drinking and what? Because I don't have no
Shorts
idea.
guy
I'm trying to find the link.
This guy, yeah,
What am I?
do it again.
Yeah,
Where's
I got
Easy?
yellow flashing lights by Mudhen since it's
I think
Ooh.
Tread wants some.
cold as anything. Yeah, I think Tread does want a sip. So there's her butt and her tail.
I got another simple one, Shorts guy. We're going to keep this ingredient simple. I'm drinking Green Flowers by Other Half, which is a West Coast IPA.
Ooh,
That's it.
That's all.
not bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go 3 in a row with corrosion, so I just pulled this
Yeah, I mean, you
guy
could've.
out of the back of the fridge.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
It ain't even a beer.
No, Gin Crush, Dogfish,
Nice.
lemon and
Gin
lime.
Crush is delicious, and we'll accept
I had
it
too
as
many
a beer
beers.
'cause
I had
it
too
is
many
so
beers
delicious.
late last night, so I'm going with this.
What's the matter,
Yeah,
you?
now my phone doesn't even work.
I'm-
What the heck is going on?
Pound,
I don't know what
pound
I
and
was
beer
thinking.
watching the Oscars?
Yeah, I'm a big Oscar buff.
Yeah.
All right, so before we will get into that immediately because
We don't need to.
We
Yeah,
don't
we
have
really
to.
don't.
Everyone else did.
All right, quickly, I am going to drink 2 things from Portugal,
Two
and they're
things.
You're
actually
gonna
both
chug. You're gonna chug one and drink the other. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Do it.
Well, this one might
You won't
be
do it.
more chuggable. This is Summersby. It's a blackberry sparkling cider, so I'm pretty sure I could chug that pretty easy. And then
Summersby.
the second thing,
Is that
from
Tread talking to
Portugal.
us?
No, that's my baby making the noises.
Oh.
Um,
I thought Tread was saying,
Yeah.
"Yo, your beer's lame as hell."
This one is called Bandita de Pomar from Sidra, and it's a apple beer. So I'm gonna go apple beer later.
All right,
Hey,
I'm
you
not
unplugged
gonna make
something.
fun of you for the rest of the night.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Here, you want to sit up here? All right.
I should talk up bringing this.
Yeah. So last night, very eventful. Not only did Chris Rock get slapped, but the Penguins slapped a team.
They sure
11
did.
to 2.
Yeah, that was a
11
meme.
to 2.
That was foreshadowing
Which
for the
is-
Oscars.
Yeah. We should have.
Holy
they should
crap.
have seen that coming. I had.
I
the
didn't see
stat
any memes
here.
referencing that game to the Oscars. How come nobody's done that? It's all
Well, that's
been other
because
stuff.
everyone was.
No,
did.
I saw it.
Yeah.
No, they
You
did
saw
it.
one? I
They
didn't
were.
see one.
They
I only saw
had,
the one. I saw the Simpsons
just
one
don't-
that they did for that.
You just don't waste enough time on the internet.
Apparently, I don't.
Yeah.
On the Facebook.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the stat. That the scoring of the 11 goals is the first team since the NHL introduced the salary cap to get 11. Malkin actually led the way with the hat trick, 4 points. Steve, why is this game going to be the start of your Stanley Cup video celebration highlight tape?
It's not going to be because as much as I want to say this was like some sort of triumphant rebound after the kind of embarrassing showcase that they put on against the Rangers, it was, I think, more so a really, really bad Detroit team
They were bad.
that Pittsburgh just kind of exploited. So they came out pretty much not having any interest in playing hockey at all. And I think
Yeah.
Dylan Larkin was even insinuating
Do-
that they pretty much
Do I
deserved.
gotta thank you. Tampa softened them up the night before for you, and so you can pound them with 11 goals the next night. I don't get a thank you. Wow.
No, because they didn't.
Well,
because-
or how about thank you Rangers for beating us so soundedly that we had to go out and then punish the Detroit Red Wings.
I'm trying to say something true here, and y'all are just throwing nonsense at me.
Well,
Detroit-
most of
Steve,
it's
I'm
nonsense.
listening.
Detroit
Steve,
stinks.
I
and
am listening to you.
Detroit is quite bad. Okay, so we see some promising young players, but I mean, what we saw last night was, pretty much the true colors of that team. They're a bad team, and they have, with Calvin Pickard, that's arguably, I know we can think of another one, but arguably the worst goaltending tandem in the league, and potentially the worst starting goalie in the league in Nedeljkovic.
All right, who would you honestly rather have? That tandem of Nedeljkovic and Picard, or Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen?
Here's the thing: is because I think the tandem of Pickard and Nedeljkovic on Edmonton would be better. So you put them on a better team. So yeah, it's the circumstances of what team they're playing for. But right now, it's a terrible tandem, and it's a terrible whoever's in that starting role. It's no good. But I mean, it was nice. I mean, of course, you like seeing your team score a lot of goals, and that game helped me win fantasy hockey this week. So,
Nice.
but there's not a whole lot to break down as far as the game goes. As simple as Detroit is very, very bad, and Pittsburgh just took advantage of it, and that's kind of it. They tied in shots. It wasn't like Pittsburgh completely dominated them in the game either. It's just is bad.
Goalie was terrible. Yeah,
flat and simple.
We've all had those.
Who started
games.
that game? Who started that game? Nedeljkovic or the other kid? He lets up some bad goals. Like you've seen him let up some bad goals. Like last year and this year, he's on the highlight reel of like weird goals being let in. So.
That one with his paddle is.
Oh my god, that's bad.
One of my favorites I think I've ever seen. I feel bad for the kid, but it was entertaining.
I honestly though, I'd still rather have him than Mike Smith as my goalie. If like I had to choose between two goalies, I'd rather have Nedeljkovic than Mike Smith or Koskinen.
I agree with you, but I think statistically speaking, he's probably the worst starting goalie in the league right now.
Oh, he's on a crap.
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if it's true, but I'm going to go ahead out on the limb and just assume that's what it is.
Maybe in terms of wins and losses, I haven't even actually looked into that, but yeah, no, they're definitely
this
bad.
Beat down, his numbers are going to be pretty affected.
Yeah. Let's see. Can I see even just leaders for goaltenders in the other direction? In general, losses, 27 for Grubauer. Vejmelka from Arizona has 25. So Nedeljkovic has 20. As I pass off the baby, who is making her
handoff. Hi, Beth.
Noise.
Hi, Beth.
They say hi. Yeah, so Nedeljkovic has a 326 goals against. That is not good, and his save percentage is
got to be under 9.
It's a 90. It's a 901 actually.
Okay.
Grubauer has an 890. That's pretty bad. Who has the worst goals against in the league? Oh, all right. Yeah, so this guy actually just got under the knife for surgery to end his season. 877, Korpisalo.
Oh.
Jeez. Yeah, but how many games did he play?
He's played 22. So decent sampling.
Uh-oh, someone's ringing.
Grubauer's an 889. That's the worst, 48. And then goals against. Who do you think has the worst goals against for over 20 games? Oh, it's also Korpisalo. 415.
You didn't even let us guess.
Yeah, well, it was going to be an easy one once you got the save percentage.
I was going to say it anyway.
Grice is second at 379, and then Merzlikin's 339, 44 games. Yeah, not good.
Yeah, that Columbus duo is bad also. They're not. They
how
shouldn't
about Scott,
be, but they are.
Scott Wedgwood's on here, but how about him his last few games?
He's been doing well.
Great trade by the Devils. Actually, no, they cut him, right?
Yeah, they put him on waivers and Arizona picked him up, I think.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
No, because no matter what. Game yet or no? No, he's still hurt. You know, it's like
I don't understand that trade. Like, what was the point of that trade? I don't understand it.
I finally, actually, I got to say this. I finally saw something that made sense today as far as that trade's concerned. He must be close because the thought of potentially, when he's healthy, sending Nico Dawes back down to the AHL to play in the Utica playoff run gives the Devils 2 goalies that they can play up in the NHL to finish out the season while Nico Dawes is getting playoff experience. So I saw that post today and I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. To to do that. So that must mean.
To give up. I don't know literally nothing about Schnar, who went over the other way. I don't know
either. No idea.
Sounds like I'm curious as to why they wouldn't be able to get like a conditional 7th round pick for Hammond.
I don't know.
Schnar.
I don't know.
They actually had to give up a player. I mean, maybe he's as irrelevant as Hammond is, so it won't matter in the end. Yeah. But I'm just curious.
Great name though.
Schnar.
Great name.
It wouldn't shock me if we saw a Hammond Gillies duo for the remainder of the season once the AHL playoffs start. You good? And she's gone off in that direction. So yeah, that's the first thing that I saw today that finally made sense about that trade. So we'll see when that playoff run hits and if that's the case. But I also have not heard a single word about how close he is to being to even playing. So who knows? Maybe there'll be McDonald's hamburger night when they when
I'm sure there's going to be
hamburger night sponsored by McDonald's.
So obviously, Penguins 11-1. Another big win was Vegas Golden Knights. Evgeny Dadonov. I said 1. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the thing. Evgeny Dadonov comes back, scores the game winner. Vegas is fighting for a playoff spot. Every point is precious. Do you think they actually don't make it? Just so schedule. So,
are they
people
in
have
right
the standings? Well, yeah. So I was going to tell. So just for standings reasons, they sit at 76 points, one behind Edmonton, who has 77. Obviously,
4 games in
Dallas
hand.
has 75, but 4 games in hand.
That's
so
an
4 games in hand.
Potential 8-point swing.
7-point swing, but yeah.
The problem I think is with those. So 4 teams, right? We got Vegas, Dallas, Winnipeg, Vancouver, all vying for that last.
Oilers have two games in hand. Sorry,
and Edmonton. Yeah, but so all those teams, like all of them are horribly inconsistent. So I don't have a whole lot of faith in any of them making a push to guarantee one of them is going to make it. And right now, Vegas is fitting into that category. They have not looked good in a while. This last win was great for them, coming back from 3-0 down to steal that game. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm pushing for Dallas. I always got to cheer for Dallas for my brother. I'm hoping they can sneak in there. But you could always have somebody like Edmonton's up there too. They could completely falter. Any of these teams could falter. Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of confidence in Winnipeg. Vancouver's played better, but
still they're not consistent.
I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you who the heck is gonna make it in this out of those teams. It's like teams are trying to not make the playoffs, with the exception of Colorado and Calgary.
And if Vegas misses, this will be the first time that they missed the playoffs, I think, and they made the playoffs, right? Every year since they've been in
their illustrious history.
Yes, their long history. That Brett knows
I don't know.
lots about.
I just don't know. I have no idea what they're gonna. What are they gonna do about this? They cannot activate anybody. So Martinez is gonna have to sit for the season. But the thing is, I don't know how that's gonna work, because people seem to think okay, Tampa circumvented the cap by keeping Kucherov on LTIR for the whole season and coming back game 1 of the playoffs. But the league monitors the health of that player, so they can't just store him on long-term IR just for the sake of doing it. It actually has to be doctor's discretion, and
you can find and pay doctors to say anything.
Maybe, but the league is involved. It's not just Tampa's doctors. So the league is involved. How involved they are, I don't know, but the league is involved. So it's not just something you could easily do. So with both of them, if they're eligible to come back before season's end, you can't just keep them there for the sake of keeping there, because you're going to be $13 million over the cap or whatever if you activate them. But I have no idea. They need both of them. They desperately need both of them to make a push.
Are they just on IR or are they on LTIR?
Because both of them are on LTIR.
If they're on LT, I don't think they're eligible to return. They can't return in the regular season.
Well,
they're not
now
eligible
they can't,
to.
They can. The amount of games, yeah.
I thought they can't. I thought they said once you go on that, you can't come back.
No. It's an amount of games is long term. I'll look it up, but exactly the amount of games. But I think there were not enough amount of games remaining for them to go on it without them missing the regular season.
They're in trouble then, so they ain't making it just because of that. I think Dallas. Anyway, is playing better anyway. I think they're playing better now anyway, so I think they can overtake them. Plus, they have those 4 games in hand.
Okay, so this is what it is. To qualify for LTIR, a player must be expected to miss at least 10 games and 24 days of the NHL season. So his 24 days would have not allowed them to come back in time.
They're on LTIR, though, right? They're both on LTIR. And they've been on LTIR. Yes. So technically, they're already eligible to return. It's just that they can't because there is no – I mean, they may not be cleared physically to come back, but if they were cleared physically, they could come back now, and there's just no way to activate them because I don't know what penalties there are for this or whatever, but it's literally I think a little over $4 million to activate Martinez and a shade under $10 million to activate Mark Stone.
There won't be any penalty. Vegas is a darling of the league, so they'll find a way to find a doctor that will wink at the league and say he's still hurt.
Well, yeah, but that's the problem is like, okay, so if they do even get that far, but, they need these guys for a playoff push. So if they're available and they're just they can't activate them because of that reason, I mean, that's going to hurt them massively.
Well, that's stupid management. But that if Vegas
that's why
sneaks into the playoffs.
Dodonov trade, because the Dodonov trade, I guess, was going to get him because not only were they shedding his cap, but they were taking on Kessler's contract, which was going to get them more cap space. Because of his LTIR status. So, they had it planned out, and look what happened. It's technically it's within the rules to do, so you can't be like they were trying to cheat because it is legal, technically. It's just, it's, I guess, frowned upon is what you would call it, but it's just crappy thinking about, these teams that really do, work to the cap and don't do things. And we knew any team in on the Eichel trade were just like, no, we can't get in on it because we don't have the cap space. And Vegas is just like, I don't care. We'll go $10 million over the cap, whatever. And, here they are now. So it actually is, I think it's sort of redemption or whatever, or just like deserving of them to get this trade backfire on them.
So what's going to happen is the league we'll let this one pass, and over the summer you'll see a rewriting of the rule, and it won't be allowed to happen again.
Well,
I think it's you know what though?
Meetings, they're already talking about it.
I know they are. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I'm not convinced.
You know what though? With it happening last year with the Lightning, and now you see Vegas trying to do it. It's going to become a systemic problem if they don't fix it, and they don't fix it soon. I think that it's going to have to be changed. They don't want their teams to be in this position anymore. I think the league is going to allow this. They're going to look beyond this one, but they're going to punish. They're going to punish everyone else going forward. Like they allowed all those really dumb contracts, and then the Devils signed one of them with Kovalchuk, which was dumb. But then all of a sudden, it's the Devils that get pinned for it when there were other contracts just as absurd at the time. So it's. Vegas could be, I guess, the sacrificial lamb as far as why it needs to be changed. But I still don't know if the league will allow one of their darlings to suffer. If it was another team that the league didn't really care about, they'd probably just let them get just completely annihilated by it. But they'll let it slide this time, and then they'll push to change it after this season.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So I was reading stuff by Elliot Friedman, and he said there was a big part of the GM meetings was the LTIR and how they would go about doing this. And I think there were ideas that they could, have them activate a person from LTIR before the playoffs start, and if not, then they can't use him during the playoffs. There was a couple of takes on, can you carry that cap in, just making it so that it includes playoffs, as well as I think the last one was it was a proportioned amount of salary cap from a guy coming off LTIR, and then you could use it that way. So
hold on, what if wait? I got an idea. What if you just sign players and stay within the cap?
Yeah, imagine that.
Wild thought. Wild thought.
Yeah,
I know.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. All right.
Takes a lot of brain power.
I mean, I agree with. I agree with
issues.
I agree with if you're basically running at the cap ceiling and a guy gets hurt, you can put him on whatever IR and then be able to call up players. So you have like a bubble of margin. But to be Vegas is going to be pushing 15 million over the cap by the time the playoffs start. That to me is just that's a little much.
They're not going to make it anyway, so they don't have anything to worry about.
They're not going to even have to make it.
They're not going to make it.
Find a way for them to make it.
I don't think they're playing good enough for them to make it. They're not. Who's the kid that's their goalie now? I don't even he's got all gray equipment. Have you seen him? Thompson or something? Who the hell is this kid? They have no other goalies?
Yeah, no, I think I know who you're talking about because they did have a kid down
Forget his name.
What's their farm team? Reno or something? Henderson. I think Henderson is their farm team, like the Henderson Silver somethings or other.
Aren't they the Silver Knights or something instead of Golden Knights?
Yeah, something like that. He always had really nice bats if it's the kid I'm thinking about.
Logan Thompson.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't do overly.
I don't see them making it.
He didn't do overly great on what was that, Saturday? He
He's not overly great in general. His stats aren't good.
Well, yeah, not good.
NHL goalie.
My stats wouldn't be good if I was in the NHL, but I'd still be there.
Sure, Scott, you'd be a tremendous e-bug. I don't want to hear it, okay?
Oh, I am a tremendous e-bug. I just got to get
tremendously funny e-bug.
E-bug?
What's an e-bug?
Yep. The thing with just quickly also, the thing
it's that Sotheby's drink
Let
you're
the
drinking
boy
there.
talk. Let the man talk.
You sons of bees. Evgeny Dadonov, the contract and the snafu, apparently the NHL and Vegas both did not know that there was a limited trade no movement clause, and that I guess when it was originally submitted, they thought that voided the clause when he was dealt from Ottawa to Vegas. And that's, I guess, the big thing that, when they did the trade call, the NHL or whatever it's called, it is called the Central Registry, and that they had no recollection of it because they're the ones that kind of talk about all these trade calls and they focus and they bring it through this and they give the final say, and they just didn't have it. And, it sucked for Vegas and that a trade was reneged that they obviously needed. But at the same time, it's, the fair thing to do. And Dadonov did not want to go to Anaheim. I think they even asked him, and he said no. And, it's got to – think about it the other way. It's got to suck for the player, right? Because now he knows the team doesn't want him. So would you really want to go back? That's a tough situation to go into. But I guess he wanted to stay in Vegas.
And who'd they trade off? They traded off somebody just to sign Dadonov this offseason as well? I don't even remember.
No, he was traded for because he had a 4-year contract.
Or traded for, whatever it was.
Anyway,
enough of Vegas.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, he was, sorry, I was trying to find what the hell this was, but oh well. Lastly was the Minnesota Wild, winning 6 in a row, including overtime win over the Colorado Avalanche. Dumba fighting Nathan McKinnon after Rannon took a pretty big hit. I guess teams on a hot streak. They're moving up the standings in a tight Western Conference race. Do you guys think that this is a cup contending team?
I think they are a cup qualifying contending team. I'll put it that way. I don't know if I'll put them as a cup contender, but I will put them as
what do you mean by
could
cup
make it
qualifying?
They could make it out of the West.
Okay.
Well,
if not Colorado, I would go with them. Colorado, I would pick them.
Calgary also looks very strong, and I think LA would be. I think LA is underestimated. LA could be overlooked.
Really?
And they could do well.
See, I don't think that.
But I think, without naming that group of teams I named before about making a playoff push, those teams look relatively strong. Colorado, of course, is a powerhouse, but I don't know. I've said it before. I feel like in the West, the team that you expect to come out of the West never does. And I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Colorado just based on the last 2 years, but we'll see. It could be different. It's not like they're not winning series like some other team in the East.
I could see the St. Louis Blues for some reason. I could see
Minnesota. I could see Minnesota making it, whether or not they can beat any of the powerhouses in the East that should potentially make it to the Cup final. I don't know that they would contend against them per se, but
in a 7-game series against somebody in the East, I don't think they would be able to beat any of the top teams.
Florida, Carolina, I'm not even
Pittsburgh, any of them. I don't in a 7-game series now, but I like them in the West. I like Minnesota a lot in the West now that they got your boy Naff, and I don't know. I think they could cause
Talbot. Let a spark under Talbot's ass.
I know he's been playing great too lately a little bit. So I don't know. I think they could. I think they can make some noise out there.
I'll ask this question: What teams would surprise you in the East if they made the Stanley Cup final?
Toronto.
Obviously Washington.
Yeah. Washington and Toronto.
If Toronto wins a series, I'll be shocked.
So you really think those two are the only two?
And Boston,
the Devils.
Yeah. The Rangers are like the Rangers are kind of like in between because they do have.
I like it.
They have a solid. I don't think they're not a Florida. They're not a Carolina. They're not a Tampa. I mean, right now, I guess you would say they're not a Toronto. Although Toronto, we all know what they're going to do. But I think it's like some kind of gremlin.
On,
I think Pittsburgh and the Rangers kind of fit in the same category as to they could make it out of the East, but I don't think anyone would really be surprised if they did. That's
Billy
all.
Dean, no other games of note with big scores you want to talk about from last week?
Yeah, we could talk about the Rangers. The last
I had tickets to that game too, and I didn't go.
Last 10, 6-4. They did have a bad loss to the Devils.
Yes, they
but
did.
Then they came back and beat a Penguins team that I think is a serious contender. 5-1. Steve alluded to it. They've played great against Cup contending teams. Schwimm's, boys are 0-3 against the Rangers. I believe they're 2-1 against the Hurricanes.
Well, Tampa sucks.
They play really well. Well, yeah, they play really well against good teams, and then sometimes they falter because they're so. The
look on his face is great.
Just
like the look on his face is fantastic.
They've turned it around because their record against playoff teams was not good about a month ago, and especially concerning was. I guess it doesn't matter unless there's an injury. But if
at least
Shesterkin wasn't playing, they weren't beating anybody that's in a playoff spot.
Yeah, no. If they have Alexander Georgiev starting for any important game,
he shut out. Who did he shut out? He shut out Tampa.
Right? Yeah, he did shut out Tampa. I mean,
I was like, probably the best I've ever seen him play, to be honest with you.
That one shutout that he just had, who was that against? It wasn't against Tampa. He had like a 40-something save shutout.
It was Carolina
then,
that I think.
That game, he was awesome, that game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And I was surprised when I saw that it was him in goal because he doesn't beat – when he's in goal, they just don't beat playoff teams.
Is that a washed-up Orlando Solar Bear?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what we're getting you for your birthday, a Solar Bears Sean Avery tee.
Oh, Sean Avery jersey? Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, man.
That is fantastic. All right, so let's get to we're getting off the rails here, but
spin off the Since the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
It never been off
Leonard
for a
Stone,
while.
obviously.
It's been off for 86 episodes, I think.
In fact, I don't
Give
even
or
think
take.
this is the 86th episode.
Give or take.
We actually never
how
mentioned
off
it,
the
but
rails,
Marty St. Louis being the head coach of, obviously, Montreal, the GM actually gave his endorsement saying that he should stay as Montreal's coach for next season. St. Louis actually done pretty well with that crew. You see guys like Cole Caulfield playing better.
Yeah, he's playing Cole Caulfield. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that.
What? Yeah.
Freaking other idiots don't want to play this kid. It doesn't make any sense.
What a notion. Yeah, what a notion. Yeah. But
that's all he had to do. Boom.
We were talking about a little bit before on the pregame yesterday for the before the Devils game. Like, how could you not want to play great for someone like Marty St. Louis? A guy that's done it all, and he's a winner. Marty St. Louis is a winner. He's tainted by his time on the Rangers, but that's a short stint.
He went to a cup final.
You jerk. Tainted. But Marty St. Louis is a winner wherever he goes, and he's a great player. And why would you not want to try to impress him? But let's not also forget too that this is a new coach bounce, and sometimes that only goes so far, and that message is lost, relatively quickly if he's not a solid presence in the room. Yeah, exactly. Next season we'll really tell.
That'll be the real test.
Yeah.
Let's not sugar. They're playing pretty well, and he has them motivated, but they're a bad team. So they
dead last.
Going into next season, with St. Louis, of course they're probably going to make some acquisitions in the offseason. I don't know what they're going to try and do, but I hope he does okay. He's kind of in almost like a set up to fail position, right? Because it's a huge market, high expectations, and the team just kind of stinks. So, but there's some good young talent, and if you can get the best out of them, hopefully, they can build off of it.
This is like drinking a White Claw, by the way. Ugh.
But in a sense, yeah, he's kind of set up to fail. But if he can succeed with this crew, and if Montreal decides not to keep him, well,
as long as he improves if he's not finishing dead last like he is almost pretty much this season. If they can make some sort of make it close next season or something like that, I think that's a win for them because they're so god awful this season.
But I'm talking about
with no Carey Price. I think.
Or Shea Weber. Those are
Shea Weber. Yep.
But talking about for him personally,
two huge losses.
If he's able to do anything with this roster to show any kind of improvement, and Montreal decides not to stick with him or decides to let him go after the management decides not to really improve the team for him, that gives him a pretty good shot at getting another job because someone's going to look at him and be like, well, look at the crap he had in Montreal and he did relatively okay. Imagine if he had a roster that was good. So it bodes well for him, I think, in the long run, if he can get them to do something that's better than what they were.
The team needs to build around Cole Caulfield, and right now he's getting the best out of Cole Caulfield. So in that sense,
Nick Suzuki. I think Nick Suzuki is really good too.
Yep.
He's very good, but Cole Caulfield is there. That's their talent.
He's their face now.
Star.
Yes.
And Suzuki will be complimentary. Suzuki could take on a leadership role for sure, but I think
I disagree.
Cole Caulfield is. Cole Caulfield has significantly more skill than Nick Suzuki does. Significantly.
Yeah, but the center aspect, I think that he's obviously shown in the playoffs that he's a very talented player. I know that Caulfield's going to be a goal scorer, 40, they hope in 50 goal scorer, but I think Suzuki does everything for them. I think he could be a Bergeron-esque. I didn't say Bergeron, but Bergeron-esque type of player. And that's
said Bergeron.
Really.
Yeah, but
Bergeron-esque.
He could be a Bergeron-esque, but then you're surrounded by David Pastrnak and Brad Marchand, and those two guys are significantly more talented than he is. And those two guys, even Pastrnak is more the face of Boston than Bergeron is. And you could argue that Bergeron never really. He's the captain, and he's always going to be the captain. He's a great captain, great player. But if you think of the guys going to the All-Star games, the perennial All-Stars, Brad Marchand's always there. Those are the skill guys, and that's what Cole Caulfield is, the skill guy for Montreal, and that's who they're going to have to build around, and Suzuki will be there along the way as well. But Cole Caulfield is the guy.
Yeah, I think if I look at the Boston Bruins, the first person I would think of now would be Bergeron, but that's just because
that's you. But
everyone would love that player,
Pasta.
right?
I think Pasta.
I think Marchand. Right. When I hear Boston, I think Marchand.
I think Marchand as well.
All right. By the way, Bergeron's probably going to win another Selke. I mean, he is. When they talk about underrated players, I think of him. It used to be Alexander Barkov. I think
he's saying underrated for Bergeron since he was in the league. So at some point, they're not underrated anymore. He's won how many Selkies and nominated for how many Selkies? In fact, I think he's been nominated for how many consecutive Selkies now? It's
how many players?
Amazing. No, he's not underrated.
How many players in the NHL would you? How many players in the NHL would you call out first before you named Bergeron?
For what?
If you were saying, give me the best NHL players and just start listing them, how many before you'd say Bergeron? It'd probably be 20 or 30, and I think to me that says underrated.
I don't know, because we're going back to this.
Stars.
You're going back to this. You're going back to this Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield thing. So yeah, you're going to talk about the Connor McDavids and the Dreisaitl's and the Ovechkins and the Crosbys, Malkin, and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean he's underrated though. Like he is what he is, and he's a huge part, if not.
I think he's pretty established already. You know who he is. You know what he brings. Like I don't think he's underrated anymore.
Everybody knows that he is.
Awesome. He's a reliable, awesome player.
That's what he is. He gets points on that top line because he is a talented player, but he's also surrounded by goal-scoring prowess, and that's really the only line that scores. So a lot of his points could just be through osmosis, really, because the guys around him are super skilled goals.
That's osmosis for a top 10 center.
Yeah,
I don't know. All right.
It's his guys. The guys he's surrounded with are really producing the offense, and not that he's not, but they really know how they could do it without him easily.
He's not the engine; he's just the cog in the engine.
He's a very good cog in that engine.
He is a good cog. He's a cog I would love on my team.
I don't want to paint him.
Anybody would want him on their team,
but
I think he's incredible. An incredible player, and he's highly respected. And I think that everybody knows what he brings and what he's the best at. So I don't think underrated. It just depends on what you're talking about.
More in terms of stars in the league, underrated.
Under the radar, maybe, not underrated.
I don't think you think of him like when somebody says stars of the league. You probably don't think Bergeron as a top room, but I still think of him as an amazing player in this league who I would love to have on my team as anyone would. But underrated now, I'm not underrated.
Mark Stone is in the same category too, and people wouldn't name him in the top 25 probably.
Yeah,
the winger.
We forgot. So I was doing the stars of the week, and Cam Talbot was one of mine. Obviously, we just talked about Minnesota, but 3-0-0, 133 goals. He had the shutout against. The Canucks. Obviously, we talked about him and Marc-Andre Fleury, but just awesome player and someone that's probably going to take a step back once this hot streak gets come to an end. But Johnny Gaudreau, 10 points in 2 wins. He was
5 in 1 game, right?
Yeah. He had 5 in 2 games, right? Or, sorry, 3 games total. He had 5 in the one, had 2 in the other, and 3 in the other.
Johnny Ham and Cheese.
Johnny Ham and Cheese. He mixes sauces. Hello, Kat.
I was like, and then I looked down and I looked up and I saw nothing but blackness. I'm like, Steven, what the hell are you doing? I didn't realize it was freaking Melvin at first. Oh man.
And then lastly, Leon Draisaitl, 6 goals, 2 assists, 8 points in 3 games.
That boy good.
Him and they're starting to take over, that NHL scoring race once again. I believe McDavid's at 97 points, Draisaitl at 94, and then Johnny Gaudreau at 90. We weren't talking about Gaudreau. Yeah, I know. We weren't talking about Gaudreau for the MVP race, but do you think he's slowly?
No.
I guess who would your MVP be at this point?
Who's up there?
Unfortunately, Shesterkin had a bad week, so that hurt.
It's never going to be a goalie unless they have a ridiculous season. It's never going to be a goalie.
It was ridiculous for a while there, and then he had a bad week where he would have been games.
He would have been maybe a finalist in the conversation, possibly, but still not going to win. They're not going to give it to a goalie.
No.
I don't think they're going to give it to a goalie.
Because goaltending's not sexy.
I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I'm just saying I don't think they will.
Goaltending's not a sexy position to sell to the everyday person.
You know who's probably going to win it at this point? I think probably Austin Matthews. If he wins the Rocket,
him and Huberdeau are up there. Huberdeau's having an amazing season.
I just have a hard time believing that anybody on Edmonton should win it because it's just like the MVP of a mediocre team is just kind of strange.
Not only that, but I mean, can you tell me what's more vital to that team, McDavid or Draisaitl? They're both the same.
They're both not going to be there in 5 to 6 years. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's hope not.
I can't.
Where's McDavid going? What team is McDavid going to go sign to? He's going to go to the Rangers? I don't know about that. I think he stays in Canada. He goes to some Canadian team.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah.
Montreal.
Like if Montreal's good at that time or Toronto's good at that time or something, he'll go to one of them.
They don't even necessarily need to be good. They just need to be promising.
McDavid is from Richmond Hill, Ontario. So
Toronto.
Sounds made up.
I don't want to go to Toronto.
All right, where is Richmond Hill?
Yeah, Toronto. Well, we'll see where we're at in 5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Richmond Hill is basically
they'll still have Mike Smith
a suburb of Toronto.
58 years old.
There you go. He'll pull a Tavares. He'll pull a Tavares.
Go to Toronto.
Mike Smith will follow him there. Oh my God.
That'd be great.
Mike, what Goldsmith?
Speaking of Gaudreau and horrible goaltending, that Battle of Alberta was rough for those Oilers. Yeah.
Yeah.
One lit in 4, the other lit in 5, something like that.
All right,
but that's the scoreline the league loves. It's goal scoring that the league wants. They hate goal.
But it also
they hate low scoring.
It just goes to show you what Edmonton has.
Oh yeah,
in a nutshell.
Without a doubt.
All right, so one of the quiet players that I've also wanted two of the quiet players I want to talk about. These two guys are in the top 10 in scoring, and I want your immediate impressions on, do you think these guys are becoming stars in the league? Kyle Connor sits at 6th overall in the scoring race, 82 points, 41 goals, and Matthew Tkachuk, 32 points, 50 assists for 82 points as well. Thoughts on these two Canadian stars?
I think if you're talking, while we were on the subject of underrated, Kyle Connor is the guy at the moment that no one's really talking about. People know he's good, but no one knows that he's this good, right? They don't know he's dominating and really carrying that team that Mark Scheifele has for the last how many years or whatever. He's kind of really overtook that. Matthew Tkachuk, I'm just surprised he has that many points, sort of, but that top line is just
it's been awesome.
So heavily weighted as far as the point differential. So just knowing where Gaudreau is at, I had a feeling that Tkachuk was not too far behind.
Connor is 20 points ahead of Scheifele, who Scheifele's also minus 15. That team, that he's not had a great season. Blake Wheeler, he's 30 points ahead of, but he sits at the top of those two. But yeah, you were talking about that line with Elias Lindholm and Tkachuk and Gaudreau. Probably top 5 line in hockey, maybe top 3 even, just the way they played this year.
Depends on how you categorize it, but certainly one of the most productive lines in hockey, if not the most, right?
Gaudreau with 90, Tkachuk with 82, and then Lindholm with almost 70 is 69. All guys 30-goal scorers. Mangiapane, another guy, 30-goal scorer. They could put the puck in the net. Even Noah Hannafin.
Mangiapane on 10 assists. He's got 30 goals by 10 assists.
30 and 15.
He only scores goals. That's it.
He's not quite as bad as Chris Kreider, though. I believe Chris Kreider. Give me a second.
Home runner bust.
He has 48 goals. Kreider with 48 goals, but he also has Kreider with 44 goals. My bad. But he also only has 18 assists. That's not great. 62 points, and almost all of them are goals.
Well, you want him scoring goals. You don't want him getting assists.
Well, yeah. No, true.
Someone's got to put him in.
You figure that there would be at least a big difference. But we were talking about the MVP, Austin Matthews. Gaudreau with a plus 49, by the way, which is
pretty good. Incredible, yeah.
Pretty ridiculous.
Really awesome.
It's pretty
him
surprising.
And Lindholm are both plus 49.
And probably Huberdeau. I think I would pick those three.
I think Huberdeau's got to be up there.
Yeah. But of course, one of the Edmonton guys just has to be because they're going to lead the league in points. So unfortunately, that's where we're at, and that's what's going to happen. But I think those three right now are the leaders. Matthews, Huberdeau, Gaudreau. I like it.
It all rhymes. It all rhymes.
Matthews, Huberdeau, Gaudreau. Yeah, not bad.
Off the tongue.
And then I also did I freeze? Maybe.
No.
You're right.
Gaudreau with a plus 49. The worst guy on his team, Sean Monahan, minus 16.
Yep. I don't know how many times I got to bring that up. I just can't believe they're on this. How are they on the same team? How are those two players on the same team?
Well, it's not
blows
like there's
my
a
mind.
whole. It's not like there's a whole line that's been terrible. Monahan's minus 16. The next worst is Milan Lucic at minus 6. He's minus 10 more.
Isn't Monahan way down the lineup now? He's not even in the.
Yeah, I guess
six.
he just plays on the fourth line, so he doesn't even get penalty kill, so he can't even get that.
What happened to him? He's like
I don't know
the NHL's most useless player at this point. He's literally causing you more harm being on the ice than he is than not. I don't know advanced analytics and how that crap works, but obviously
he was an 80-point scorer in 2018, 2019, and then he just nosedived. He had half of his points in 1920 where he had only 48, and then last year had 28, and now he has 22. I mean, the guy is clearly – he also 28 games last year, or 28 points last year in a shortened season. But, that's crazy to me that he has been –
He'll be out of there soon. He'll get a change of scenery.
Yeah.
We'll take him on any one of our we'll take him on any one of our inline teams, though.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Come play for Bone Storm.
We got to get over that hump. We need some new blood.
Yeah. We can't beat anybody.
We're always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Always, always.
Yeah.
Hey, at least I know it's not me. This from this season.
My overtime heroics in game 1, but I could not pull it out for game 2.
Shootout heroics.
Yeah, fantastic.
A GWG shootout winner?
Yep.
Dude, it was a patented Bill Dean celebration.
What was it?
It was.
Yeah, but what kind of goal was it?
Everything about it was
just go down and shoot?
He just went down and put it through his glove.
Yeah. That's how most of my goals go in. I just rifle it as hard as possible. And the goalie just sometimes, the glove just goes back. Such a hard shot. I should be in the hard shot competition. All right, yeah, but just quickly on goaltending, Igor still leads in the goals against and save percentage, but our wins leaders, you got Mr. Tristan Jarry with 33, as well as Vasi, Saros 32, and then a bunch of guys tied with 31. Couple more things from the past week. Obviously, there's a lot of teams that are now going to be talking with the Golden Knights about cap room. Kraken are one of them. Just teams in general that want to go. A lot of guys with their trade reactions. Basically, the Eastern Conference teams made a whole bunch of moves, and then only 3 or 4 teams in the West, right? Calgary, Colorado, Minnesota, and St. Louis were the only teams to make significant moves in the West. I guess everybody just kind of assumes that it is. That we had that game between Lightning and Hurricanes where, Kucherov had a big hit and then the tensions were flaring in between periods. It's always good to see. It's going to be fun.
Stupid. It was at the end of the game.
That's right. End of the game. Sorry. They were going over, matchups right now. If if the playoffs were to start, and it would be Rangers, Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Boston, and then Florida, and Washington, and then Tampa and the Leafs. So Shroom's got to be happy if that was the matchup.
Yes. They got a free pass. I love it.
Watch this is the year the Leafs get through.
Yeah, imagine Shrim, you're gonna be that team that the Leafs finally.
I don't. If I'm that friggin' team, oh my god.
So if the Leafs get Tampa and the Leafs make it through the first round through Tampa, Schwim is going to be moving into one of our places because he's not.
I'm going to be so. I might break something. So.
But could you? That second round matchup, if both Tampa and Florida win, is going to be ridiculous. I could see that.
I can also see Boston overtaking Toronto.
Yeah. Yes, eventually.
Tampa's played like shit lately, so they could even fall into a wild card spot, which they were in, I think, over the weekend before their last 2 wins.
I actually think you'd rather play the wild card because I don't know that you want to play Boston in the first round.
I don't give a shit who they play, honestly. Yeah? I really don't care. Right. I just want them in. I don't care who they play. It doesn't matter. But it really does not matter.
For that other side, for the Metro, whoever wins out of Pittsburgh, New York, if the Stings were to stay, the winner of Carolina and Boston would be a crazy matchup as well. So, and then in the West, you got Colorado. They would face the Vegas Golden Knights if the season was end today, which that would suck for Colorado because you're going against a night team that's most likely going to get their guys back.
You're going to have an all-star roster.
Yeah,
you're going to have a 19 million over the cap roster.
A little unfair, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Minnesota
and the most
Nashville.
unsexy series of Kings and Edmonton.
Kings and Edmonton would be bad. That wild Nashville Predators matchup would be fun to watch. And then lastly, Calgary and the St. Louis Blues. I'd root for Calgary, but that would be also an interesting series. Claude Giroux, obviously, back with the Flyers. There's talks now that he's been in at least doing research on Ottawa. I don't know why Claude Giroux would want to go to Ottawa, but there's talks about it. I guess there was a question. There was a question asked before Chicago's trading of Brandon Hagel to the Tampa Bay. Why is he available? I guess teams were just doing their due diligence to make sure they weren't missing something. So good job, Chicago. I guess apparently Lou Lamoriello made promises to Zdeno Chara and Andy Green that he would stay, that they would stay with the Islanders that season. There was a lot of interest apparently in Chara. I would have probably gotten an asset for him if I was the GM, but
I want that experience. That's all.
Yeah, wants this experience.
That's all I want. I don't know what else you could want.
Obviously, the hardest thing about
contract making league minimum, so it's not bad.
No, not at all.
The hardest thing for the Fleury trade was not getting the goalie's approval, but actually brokering trade draft pick conditions. Minnesota was actually one of the only teams to not, happy with not guaranteeing a first rounder. So a lot of teams were kind of swayed away by that instead of actually Fleury's ability to, accept a trade. Edmonton looked into Arturi Lehkonen, but couldn't pay the price that Edmonton did. Apparently, Montreal's return for Ben Sherratt.
My head at that one.
Yeah, I know. You would figure that they would not look for offense and they would look for a goaltender, but no. Montreal's return for Ben Sherratt was what drove up the cost for Jacob Chikrin, and that's what he wasn't traded. Apparently, the Rangers tried to get Calle Jarnkrok, and they were close, but they were edged out by Calgary. Apparently, Drury tried a bunch of big swings. I'm not really sure, what else he was trying to get, but Jeff Merrick said that the initial ask for Ricard Raquel was a first rounder and a top prospect, but eventually they, I guess, kind of missed the boat on a lot of these players and had to settle for Zach Aston-Reese, Simone Klang, Kelly Klang, and a second rounder. So that's just terrible for.
I don't know why Kelly Klang. I really have. I have no idea. I guess I don't know. The scouts out or something. I don't know. He could
apparently
turn
there was.
I don't see it right now.
Yeah, apparently there's a lot of interest in Phil Kessel, but apparently retaining Johan Larsson salary meant that because they also retained Ekman Larsson and Darcy Kemper, they could not take a fourth salary retention. So it all but assured that Kessel would not be traded because they had to take, whatever team other than the Rangers, they had to take his entire cap hit. And, that's apparently what the issue was with moving Phil. Oscar Dance looks to be coming back from overseas, maybe even playing for Vegas down the stretch. And then I'm trying to think of anything else I had. Everybody loved the Justin Bieber reversible jerseys. I don't know why, but
I don't get it. Okay.
Yeah. I like the black and blue trim. I thought the black and blue trim looked really good.
I don't understand the reversible aspect of it at all.
The Pokemon on the back. I don't know.
Yeah, the black with the blue. I thought that was fine. That was a nice sharp.
Are they ever going to wear the other side, the yellow side, like in
think so.
a game?
I think it's mainly. I think it's more. I think that's for the fans, really.
I had
if
one
it's available
more.
For fans. I don't even. Is it even available to fans?
It is. Yeah. No, it is. It's available. I got an email about it yesterday. Today, you can buy it.
You know what I think is crazy? Talking about Phil Kessel, though. Also, one question: how long do you think it's going to take for Keith Yandel's record to be broken? Like it's. I almost feel bad because I don't know if Keith Yandel's going to be on a team next season per se. Like next season could be and Phil Kessel's like 20 games behind him, so he could have this record for literally like a year maybe, and then lose it, and that's like pretty much unheard of because the guy. So he's played a ridiculous amount of games in a row.
Okay, so Kessel's 20 games behind. He's at 988. Kessel's at 965. The next closest guy is Brent Burns at 662. He's 300 back. Active games leaders.
I don't think he's going to make.
No, he's not.
But that's such an incredible feat. It's such an incredible feat by Keith Yandel, and he's literally going to own it for a year, maybe, not even.
Yeah.
And then he's going to like immediately lose it, and that's like I don't know. That's upsetting to me. Like usually, Jarvis, right? How long did he have that record for?
Since
decades?
1987. Yeah, 30 years.
So.
Oh, just
happens
to be that
35 years.
you're about to get it when there's someone else that's doing it just same as
you
are.
Right behind you. Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
And Phil Kessel, I feel like has a little more longevity than Keith Yandel. Like I think Keith Yandel is kind of on the if he just flat out agrees to play for a team for league minimum just to keep that going to stave off
possible.
Phil Kessel.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Well, I was to say, I feel
bad for Phil Kessel if we just jinxed him. He's gonna blame. He's gonna come on our podcast and reprimand us
for not a Hall of Famer. For not a Hall of Famer, Patrick Marleau, I actually think that sucks for him too because he was at 9-10, and then in 2021 they actually sat him a game, or either you got hurt or they sat him a game, and that actually broke his streak. But he was only 50 games away from Doug Jarvis, and he's still playing. Yeah. So it's got to suck for him too. Cogliano had that active streak going. He was at 830 before I think he got injured. I forgot Cogliano.
I think so.
He had something going. He was close. Possibly.
It just speaks to durability for these two to make it that long without having something to get in the way. Because I think the four of us can attest to. Yeah,
even COVID. Like how many players missed COVID? And it's just standard protocol. How they avoided it.
Which is amazing. Just amazing. I think the four of us can attest to what it's like to all of a sudden it's like one day you're like, oh crap, that didn't work. Now I'm hurt.
That hurts.
Yeah. Good for them.
I mean, you get run over by a 6'4" monster. Steve knows about that. Two guys on here that are actually pretty impressive. Jay Bouwmeester had 737 and Henrik Sedin had 679. Two guys that I'm a pretty big fan of. Very good hockey players. All right, you guys got anything else before we? Oh, I did have one thing. Just the Disability Hockey Festival. Hockey Festival is April 7th to 10th, and also April 21st to 24th. It allows blind, deaf, hard of hearing, special, standing, amputee, and warrior hockey all featured within the first weekend. They have sled hockey. which is really cool to watch. You know, I know they have it at Menon Arena near us. You know, a few times that I've seen it over the years, and you know, obviously these kids, everything they go through, and the coaches that are out there, you know, assisting them. It's a very cool thing. So, I do believe that they are actually airing some of this. I'll find the station and click it up. But registration started in December, and it went through 2022. And yeah, just pretty cool thing, getting everybody out there on the ice, because hockey is really for everyone. You know, we say that not just colors, but also for, you know, everybody that wants to play it and love it. And it's a fantastic game, and good for everybody in USA Hockey for setting all this up. So, gents, if you don't have anything else, what's your beers rankings?
4. I'm not big on West Coast IPAs. They're too hazy, but this is pretty good.
Yeah. Summer's Bee was basically
the name alone,
a terrible beer. Yeah. But this apple beer, pretty good. I'll actually give it a 4.
Okay.
I'll go 4 also for my gin crush.
Gin cocktails.
Not even a beer, and not only is it like you're scoring something that you can't score on Untapped.
Yeah.
I can't even check into this on Untapped. That's BS.
No, it's not a beer. It's a cocktail.
I don't know why this doesn't play.
You're a cocktail.
Every time.
4.25 for mine. I can't remember what I rated it last time, but I do love this in the winter.
It is delicious. Shrimp, take her home.
Guys, if you take one...
I didn't do that. Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing that on purpose. He's such a jerk. He's doing it on purpose. Yeah.